So are pellet grills good for everyday grilling? Stay tuned to find out. What is up guys, Steven here at Catchpro Cook, and today we're gonna go over if pellet grills are good for everyday grilling. Now you can see behind me, I have my pellet grill cranked up all the way to 400 degrees, and that's the highest that my version will go. But yeah, we're gonna be grilling some hot dogs later tonight for dinner, so this grill can in fact grill a lot of normal foods that you normally would grill on a charcoal and propane grill, whether that's burgers, hot dogs, veggies, all that fun stuff. This pellet grill can grill that food. Now, you might hear some things on the internet about, it's a pellet smoker. These things are meant for smoking low and slow. It doesn't get hot enough to sear food. So even with mine, it only goes up to about 400 degrees. Now what that means is that if you do want to get a sear on your food, it might take a little bit longer when you place it on the grill grate, and then you have to flip it over and put it on a different side of the grill that is still hot. So that way you can develop some sear marks, and it might take 2 to 3 minutes, but the food will still cook on these things. And there are some pellet grills that do have a like direct sear function, or a fire or like a sear box on the side where you can actually just cook food directly over an open flame. So I feel like if you get the right model, and even if you get one of these, a regular pellet grill, you can still grill food just as well as you can on any other grill. It just might take a little bit longer if you're normally grilling food over a raging bonfire. A pellet grill is definitely slower compared to that, but compared to most other things, it's not that much slower. Now, another question I hear quite often when it comes to pellet grills and using them for everyday cooking is, does it take a long time to preheat? And does food take longer to cook on these things? And now for both those questions, for preheating, it takes about the same amount of time to preheat one of these things as it does a normal charcoal or gas grill. After you turn this thing on, you crank it to whatever cooking temperature you want, 225 or 400, and you just wait until it gets there, which usually takes 5 to 10 minutes, and then you give another 5 minutes just to make sure the internals are nice and toasty the way you like it. But after that, you can just throw the food on there, right? So it's really not that much longer, I don't think, compared to a charcoal or gas grill. And now when it comes to cooking food, if you're cooking food at 225 on a charcoal grill and you're smoking, say a brisket, it's gonna take exactly the same amount of time to smoke a brisket at 225 on this grill. Or say you're, in my case, grilling sausages on a charcoal grill or a propane grill, at 400, well, it's going to take the exact same amount of time as it does on this to grill some hot dogs and sausages at 400 degrees. So it takes the exact same amount of time to cook, unless you're cooking at a really high temperature that your pellet grill can't get to. But once again, if that's really important to you, there are pellet grills that do have sear boxes or direct flames where you can actually cook directly over the fire, and it gets up to about 750 degrees. So those will probably get as hot, if not hotter, than some charcoal and gas grills. Now, another question that we hear when it comes to using a pellet grill for everyday cooking is if everything on here tastes like smoke. Pellet grills, also called pellet smokers, are known to be able to smoke, briskets, a rack of ribs, pork shoulder, all nice, low and slow, which it's very difficult to do on a gas grill, and you can do it on a charcoal grill, although that is pretty difficult as well unless you plan it out well. But on here, yes, you can smoke food, but also when you crank it to a high temperature, the wood pellets, the fuel in here, it's burning so hot and it's burning so high that it burns actually very cleanly. You really don't get that much smoke because the wood pellets aren't smoldering. Now, when the wood is smoldering, or the cooking temperature is set to a low temperature, the reason why it creates so much smoke is because those wood pellets are just sitting there. They burn, get hot enough, and they start to smolder and create all that smoke, which honestly creates that delicious slow smoked food. But yeah, if you're looking for everyday grilling, you don't want your hot dogs or your veggies or your pizza or your pumpkin pie or apple pie to taste like smoke on here, then just crank it to a high temperature, and you figure you're only cooking this thing on there for 10-20 minutes, so it's not really going to get a smoke flavor in that short amount of time anyway. Now, I do want to quickly go over a reason why pellet grills should be considered in your arsenal if you're thinking about them, and why, if you're wondering if they're good for everyday grilling, that they in fact are. Because with everyday grilling, you're just grilling burgers, you're grilling hot dogs, what have you, But on a regular charcoal or propane grill, you probably, you might be able to, but you may not be able to bake a pizza, whereas this you can. You can bake a pie in here, right? You just crank it to a high temperature, and anything that you would normally bake in an oven, say at 400 degrees, you can bake in this pellet grill, right? These are basically ovens, right? So now it's turned into a wood fire pizza or wood fire oven for pizza. And so that way, just once again, throw anything that you would normally throw in there in an oven, like a casserole, set the right cooking temperature and wait for the right cooking times, and it'll cook just fine in here. Now on the flip side, if you want to now start smoking food, right? Low and slow, briskets, pork shoulders, all that fun stuff, you can actually smoke on here. Whereas, with a propane grill or even a charcoal grill, that's either impossible or very difficult. So just the versatility of these pellet grills alone, I believe, are a good reason why you should select one over those other guys. Now, something to keep in mind although unlike propane and charcoal grills, you do need to power pellet grills with electricity. So my guy's plugged in here, and I do have it full of wood pellets. But once you have those two things, you really just turn it on, set the cooking temperature, and you're off to the races. So, I don't think that's really that big of a drawback. I understand for some people that might be, because if you're placing a grill far away from a power source, you're gonna have to use an extension cord or what have you. But, for the most part, if you're just grilling around your home, like I'm guessing you're doing if you're gonna do everyday grilling, then just like me, you can roll your grill out of your garage. In my case, you can have it in your front porch, you can have it in your backyard, and you can flip it on after work and get to everyday grilling. So yeah, with that, I hope that helps you, hear from my story, know that you can use a pellet grill for everyday grilling. And if you want more tips and tricks for smoking on pellet grills, for cooking on pellet grills, even for grilling on pellet grills, then feel free to like and subscribe down below. And I'll leave a few resources in the video description about using pellet grills and how they can be used for everyday grilling. And yeah, hopefully this helps, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.